Okay, so in CSGO, the Zeus was always a bit of a meme.
He could have the good timing, and there it is, a trend. Zeus gets an AK. This is so ridiculously dumb. I'm at a loss for words.
Wait, where is he? Oh. No.
People basically only used the Zeus when they were interested in trolling their opponents. But CS2 has changed all of that. Buffs to the franchise's silliest cheese gun have made it into an actual viable weapon.
Reporting he's heard a lot, and he's done it again! Oh, shocking!
And yeah, basically he's just sitting with a taser, he's dropping weapons and grenades to us. It's like, I don't know what about this pistol, but then seeing it work in practice, like, oh my god.
Certain players are proving that the Zeus might actually have a place in the meta, but the question is whether or not that's a good thing. Is the Zeus actually overpowered? If so, what does that say about the current state of CS2, and what could it spell for the future of Counter-Strike?
No, he's done it again! Oh, the shake of his head!
Okay, so before we start waxing on about the taser, friendly reminder to all the CS2 fans out there that we have a Faceit clan. That's right, you can play with me, your friends, the rest of our community for free with a real anti-cheat, collect points, and spend them on things like skins. The link's in the description below. So the Zeus X27 has been a part of Counter-Strike since Global Offensive, and it's modeled after a real-life M26 taser. It was a $100 weapon that shared the melee slot alongside a player's knife, and crucially, it could one-shot enemies from extremely close quarters. But the gun was always a bit of a joke, especially when Valve nerfed it in October of 2015, increasing the price to $200 and removing its kill reward. Some players were pretty upset by this change, as it ruined some of their cheese strats and weakened its usefulness on pistol rounds.
I think it lowered the amount of people using it, just because like before you could use it if you got your kill, you got your money back. You like spent like 200, you got 300 and a free gun. But now it's just all you get is the free gun, so it's not like you can get your money back for it, so it's more of a gamble to buy.
Those 2015 nerfs really hurt the Zeus and removed virtually any chance it had of seeing regular use. Throughout the remainder of CSGO's lifespan, it became a tool to occasionally troll your enemies and demoralize them when they least expected it. The Zeus was used more for mental warfare than as an actual viable weapon.
And the armor, and now, oh, look at this, Zeus baited it. We can win this with the Zeus! He baited him in!
When you Zeus someone, it's like so amazing, especially with the like moan that the character does when they get Zeused, like the just like moan they do. It's just so funny to me.
Oh. What did you say?
What? Don't get me wrong, using the Zeus was really fun in CSGO, but it was also pretty trolly. It was a risky buy that did not always have a chance of working out. But being a new game, when CS2 launched last year, it brought plenty of new features. But the Zeus still had the same fundamental weakness it always had. You only got one shot, one opportunity to take your opponent down. Otherwise, you'd be left standing there looking like sort of an idiot. But an update back in February changed everything when Valve announced that the Zeus was now reusable and could recharge an additional shot every 30 seconds. They also gave the Zeus its first ever skin and added the ability to put stickers on it, which was obviously a big deal for all of the hobbyists out there. Honestly, great timing by Valve to buff the Zeus at the same time that they released its first skin. Coincidence? Probably not. But players also realized that the Zeus received a stealth buff that Valve never talked about in any of the patch notes.
I was pretty excited at first, but 30 seconds for a recharge turns out to be a really long time in CS. I thought at first, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try to get an ace with a Zeus. It's just not possible, because the rounds are only like 2 minutes. So it's not as big of a buff with the cooldown, but the range buff that wasn't mentioned, because they increased the range a bit because they got rid of the damage fall off on it. That is a bigger buff than the recharge, I think.
Did the discovery of this buff actually matter? Like, was this suddenly gonna turn the Zeus overnight into something super viable and super meta? Well, to help break down the impending CS2 taser meta is our boy, Colton.
And now, the guy who actually knows what he's talking about.
I'm not actually sure why they brought me in to talk about Greek mythology, but hey, at least it's not another tack shooter video, am I right? What do you mean the Zeus is a CS thing? So, in CS2, the Zeus can one-shot enemies from a much further range than it could in CSGO. Previously, it just didn't reliably earn you a kill, even when you hit an enemy, and that was because of its damage falloff. It did reduce damage if the enemy was between 184 and 230 units away, and beyond 230, it didn't do anything. This new update was actually pretty exciting because the new recharge feature meant that Zeus enjoyers could actually use it up to 4 times in a given round, assuming it went the full distance, even if that scenario is extremely unlikely. But the phantom range buff that CS2 added proved way more impactful in the grand scheme of things. The Zeus can one-shot players from a pretty decent range now. For the Valorant players out there, your shorty is sort of modeled after the Zeus. They're both cheap sidearms that can destroy people at close range. But unlike in Valorant, the Zeus doesn't replace your firearm, which means that you can get a kill with it, then quickly switch to your pistol and potentially get a second. Once pros like Rops started cooking up strats with the weapon, they realized that it packed a pretty serious punch. So serious that he decided to pull it out in the playoffs in Katowice.
Come on now. There is no way. Rops has been theory crafting already.
Rops bought the Zeus 4 times throughout those playoffs, and he had a 100% success rate with the weapon. The guy even had lineups.
Oh, he's even working it all out.
Come on, Rops.
Oh, no.
Come on, let's make it 3 from 3, shall we?
So far, 100% success rate on these purchases. And
He's done it again! All on the shake of his head!
Every time Rops bought the Zeus, he was good for at least 1, sometimes 2.
Rops will be reporting he's heard a lot. And he's done it again! Oh, shocking!
Tell me about Rops and his taser. Was it something that he was actually like preparing for bringing out in the pistol round? I think it was one more in the force by on Ancient or something. Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, I think when the Zeus got updated like 2 or 3 days ago, he said, I have a pistol in the morning before practice, and we tried it out. And yeah, basically he's just sitting with a taser. He's dropping weapons and grenades to us. It's like, I don't know what about this pistol, but then seeing it work in practice, like, oh my God. And then, yeah, when he did it, it was just, the whole crowd went full ham. So yeah, obviously he's been cooking a little bit, and it came in very funny moments.
Players like Rops are proving just how good the Zeus can be in CS2 when used in the right situation. And that trend continued at the Copenhagen Major. Now, some players are even questioning whether or not the Zeus is actually too good. It certainly wasn't picked every round at the Major, but we also saw more players giving it a chance on the game's biggest stage. So we will certainly be watching to see how, or if, the Zeus meta continues to develop in CS2.
And that was the guy who actually knows what he's talking about.
So he's certainly given it a ton of praise, and deservedly so, but the lack of versatility, and crucially, of a kill reward, still makes buying the Zeus a bit of a risk, especially outside of pistol rounds. And it doesn't help that the CT economy has been down horrendous since CS2 implemented MR12. Buying a Zeus instead of util or an upgraded pistol and potentially hurting your buy in the following round can really put you at a disadvantage, especially if things don't go your way. But the fragility of the CT economy is also what makes a pretty great case for the Zeus right now and could help explain its popularity. Risking everything on a $200 buy instead of a 5-7 plus body armor and a flash does sound pretty compelling and in some ways less risky. What's more, the fact that we're seeing players prove the Zeus can actually be viable and isn't just a troll gun definitely adds an exciting element to Counter-Strike's gameplay, especially for us spectators. Balancing a weapon that is capable of literally one-shotting an enemy is always going to be difficult. It may not be broken right now, but it does seem to be becoming increasingly essential. And who knows, if Valve ever makes meaningful changes to the CT side economy, then maybe we can see the Zeus go from just a pistol round strat to a constant viable option. Oh, you've gotta be kidding me. Okay, so we finished making this video last week, and then, late on Thursday, Valve decided to buff the Zeus again. For starters, they reinstated the kill reward. Instead of nothing, you get $100, which is great. It takes the pressure off of you needing to get a kill with the weapon that you stole from the poor sap that you just Zeused. Economic leeway is always a good thing. Secondly, they increased the movement speed from 220 to 230, which is just a little bit slower than moving with your knife out. Now, this is not insignificant, since it makes running up on fools and zapping them that much easier, which is literally the entire point of the Zeus. Lastly, they've adjusted the attack cone, making the projectile a little more consistent. So why do they do this? Well, I think it's fair to say that it's probably to help mitigate the effect that MR12 is having on the CT economy. Making the Zeus even just a little bit more viable does throw the CTs a little bit more of a lifeline, and I do think we're gonna see it purchased even more in higher level play. So start zapping. If Twist is confident he has a FAMAS against Ops and AKs, he's winning, he's getting 2. 100% he's getting 2. Like, you don't want to play against that guy when he's
Haircut buff.
Huh?
The haircut buff.
The haircut buff, dude.